morning, the moment, our friends, Meredith, Lynch, back in the host seat again. Meredith and I find one another really, really funny, and we're not sure that anybody else finds us as funny as we find one another, but we're here to try.
I think we're pretty funny.
We're very funny.
I know. We were
very
just
funny.
cracking ourselves up. But I also think it's because, like, we are people who, like, we find life very funny.
Yeah, it's all stupid.
Yeah.
And I think that that's sort of the energy is like, it's all stupid. But you know what's not stupid? Our rundown today, which we are going to talk about Iranian cyber attacks and Oscar drone threats, potentially, maybe not, and why Joe Rogan thinks that Donald Trump betrayed him. I think that Donald Trump is doing exactly what I thought he was going to be doing. Then we're going to talk about the DOGE bros are now giving testimony about their use of ChatGPT to cut humanities grants. It turns out that the DOGE bros are even dumber somehow than I expected. Then I want to ask you about Katherine Heigl, because you've been talking about her. She's at Mar-a-Lago. Meredith has thoughts that have, of course, circulated the internet. Then we're going to talk to journalist Fortesa Latifi about social media addiction. There's a big trial going on, and Section 230. She writes about family vlogging. By the way, it is the 6-year anniversary of COVID.
I know. And you know what's so crazy
Tell
is
me.
I have a cousin who was born on COVID, and
Really? A Pisces?
exactly, cutest little thing. So she was born on that Friday the 13th of COVID, and at her house this week they all have COVID.
Wow. Happy anniversary,
I was like, what
everybody.
a way to celebrate.
What a way.
So if you guys are seeing this right now, I'm so sorry that you're sick, but you're all gonna be fine. They don't all,
fine.
some of them have COVID, some of them don't. But I'm just like, wow, like I was like full circle.
Well, it's the circle of, I have to tell you, I believe that I am patient zero for COVID in the United States.
You wish.
Listen, I had COVID in December of 2019. 2019. That's pretty crazy. Everybody was like, how did you get it? And I was like, it was on the subway. I was living in New York.
Yeah, sure.
It was everywhere long before. I also remember leading up to COVID, I had a friend who, my roommate from college, lives in Milan and works in fashion. And I was seeing her on social media talk about the shutdown in Italy because it happened before. And she kept on saying, like, hey, America, this is coming to you next. Like, you are not absolved from this. And I remember running around for like 2 weeks as like the sky is falling, like the Chicken Little, being like, hey, COVID is coming. And everybody was sort of like, shut the fuck up, like even 2 weeks beforehand. And then lo and behold,
and then it happened and everybody was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Also good point. That's true.
Do you remember who patient zero was for the swine flu back in 2009?
Very much no.
I'll tell you who it was. I'm not going to say they were patient zero, but one of the only people that I remember being like, I have the swine flu, my entire family has the swine flu, was Lisa Rinna.
Lisa Rinna.
Yes. You know what?
The show, babe.
Citation needed, because I really feel like I made this up, but I feel like Lisa Rinna came out and I was like, who is Lisa Rinna? Like, I know
I know that name,
but I don't know. Maybe I'm making this up.
Lisa, come on, confirm, deny, come on the show.
Stars who have suffered from the H1N1 virus. Lisa Rinna.
There you go.
She contracted it before it even came out. Talk about exclusive.
That's what
actually
I'm saying.
Fox News. That's a great line.
That's me. COVID-19. Okay. I'm trying not to joke. Like we said, is like everything is ridiculous, but like I don't know if I've fully recovered from. I've gotten COVID 600 times. Of COVID, I've recovered from COVID, the virus, but I don't know if I've ever fully recovered from the shutdown that was COVID. We were talking about this yesterday, and I feel like it's like my grandparents always had these like Great Depression vibes to them for the rest of their lives.
You can use that tinfoil again.
Yeah, exactly. They would get like 3 potatoes for Thanksgiving and they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
We don't want no leftovers. And I feel like that's me with COVID, is I feel like I'm a forever COVID child.
Yeah, I mean, I think it changed how we live. It changed things. And like any true American, we're not going to talk about the mental health effect.
That's right.
And we can talk about that with Fortesa.
Yeah, good point. I know. I think that's going to be interesting with Fortesa, because I think one of the big changes that COVID brought was how we interact with the internet. It's where I first discovered TikTok.
Oh, same.
Right?
Yeah.
TikTok, it was like 3 months into the pandemic and somebody was like, have you heard of TikTok? And I was like, no.
But I've got time.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, well, now I have. Okay, let's talk about, let's do a little recap of Iran. Because it just feels like this is like the thing bubbling in the background where it's like, we really are at war. And yet I don't know, like it doesn't feel like we're at war, but it does feel like we're at war. So here's some things that have happened since we last talked on Tuesday. Yesterday, the first cyber attack on a U.S. medical device company called Stryker was claimed by a group of pro-Iran hackers. Meanwhile, here in Los Angeles, there was supposedly going to be a drone attack. The Oscars are now on high alert. The FBI released warnings that Iran could execute these drone attacks, but Gavin Newsom said he wasn't aware of any imminent threats. Trump said it's being investigated. And then Caroline Leavitt was furious at ABC News for putting out the story and said, like, it's not true. But like with everything with this war, I have no idea what's going on. And that's, I think, part of why everything feels so absurd is we're like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. And I mean, I think if you lived through 9/11, you just sort of know in the back of your mind, like, yeah, it can happen.
Yeah.
And like the other thing that people need to keep in mind who maybe are countless Gen Z fans is that like after 9/11, there were additional terror, plots, threats. I mean, there always are, but I feel like a lot more came to light. There was the shoe bomber. There was this other stuff. So I think like it's very natural to think like, hey, we have this big gathering of people. Now, here's the deal. I don't think you can accomplish much at the Oscars.
Who are they going to take out? Timothy Chalamet? We're already sick of him.
Right? Like,
sorry, that's a joke. For legal purposes, that's a joke.
Jesus, she's hanging out with me too much. But I don't really, I think it's okay. But like, I do think that it's really worth it to be like, yeah, there could be sleeper cells here in the U.S.
100%. I know when, yesterday there was a shooting and a car rammed into a synagogue in Detroit. And from what it looks like, it's a naturalized Lebanese American citizen who had posted photos of his family in Lebanon who'd been bombed by Israeli airstrikes and then like, use that rage against the wrong people. But like, that's what's scary about all of this. It's like they're pushing a button that they don't really understand. We don't understand it. Joe Rogan is deeply hurt and surprised by all that's happening after he endorsed Donald Trump. Vienna, do we have a clip of our podcast peer, Joe Rogan?
So insane based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed, right?
In his latest episode, hugely popular podcast host Joe Rogan questioned President Donald Trump's decision to go to war with Iran.
He ran on no more wars and these stupid, senseless wars, and then we have one that we can't even really clearly define why we did it.
Rogan hosted Trump on his show in 2024 before endorsing him ahead of the presidential election. But Rogan has been critical of Trump in office, recently calling the administration's immigration crackdown insane. The White House said in a statement from spokeswoman Anna Kelly, quote, President Trump is courageously protecting the United States from the deadly threat posed by the rogue Iranian regime, and that is as America first as it gets.
Okay, can I just throw out there, this is part of the problem. Like, I remember at the time watching the Joe Rogan interview with Donald Trump, and he didn't ask a single follow-up question.
That was a loose biography of Tad Lincoln. For anybody else who listened to it, he's like, he had the yips. Lincoln had the yips after Tad died. It was like, and also too, a lot of it was not accurate. Like a lot of it was not accurate. What I'm saying is
like Joe Rogan didn't ask a single
No, I know. It was not an
question.
interview. But here's what I want to know. So is that a response from the White House from the criticism of Joe Rogan? Is that what that is?
I think so.
I just also think I'm like, that's so deeply like unneeded.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's the other thing. It's like, why don't you care what like members of Congress are saying about you? Or like, you know what I mean? Like to give that platform. But I also think it's like, Trump is, when people tell you who they are, believe them 101.
Yes. Or ask a second question. Like, I don't know. It's so weird to me because I'm like, I don't know. I kind of expected all of this, Like,
you know what? What can I say? I feel like if you're relying on a mid-tier stand-up comedian to give you your news,
Oh
no, maybe. No, but here's the other thing too, is like, I didn't realize that Iran was such a problem. That's the thing. You did not prove to the American people that Iran was such a problem.
100%.
And that's the other, when he comes out and the response is, oh, I'm keeping you safe from Iran. I'm like, I didn't really feel like Iran was a problem.
This is why at the State of the Union, I was genuinely surprised. I thought that the State of the Union was going to be him making a case to the American people as to why Iran is such a current threat. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's like they're kind of leaning on like Cold War narratives about Iran. You know what I mean? And like, there's Bibi Netanyahu's been saying Iran is 2 weeks away from making a nuclear weapon since 1992. You know,
I honestly think like at the rate I'm going, I'm 2 weeks away from making a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, donate now to help us.
Use my shop my. all proceeds will go towards me making a nuclear weapon. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Joe Rogan, like,
sorry, babe.
Right.
Sorry, babe. I don't know. This is one of those things where I'm like, this is the fundamental problem of transitioning to internet and media personalities being the mediator of politics, you know, like that is the problem, because everybody watched Donald Trump through the eyes of Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan was like, let's smoke a fat blunt together. You know, like that's the problem.
What are you
Nobody
gonna
asked
do?
a follow-up question.
What are you gonna do?
Speaking of follow-up questions.
Let's talk about follow-up questions.
Okay. This week, deposition videos were released of staffers working for DOGE. Does anybody remember DOGE? You know, like this is.
I feel like it's almost like they've gone away. Like I feel like DOGE was everywhere. So that was Department of Government Efficiency.
That's right.
And that was led by Elon Musk.
Which, by the way, I think we've already spent something like $11 billion a day or something to that effect
on
Iran.
Trump's Erewhon trip. No, just kidding. Poor kid. No, but not poor kid. We'll get to that if we have time. But yeah, I mean, I feel like DOGE was this big thing. We're going to slash all this inefficiency. And so I guess like the good news is we got rid of the inefficiency. Like,
is that what happened? Is that what happened? I mean, like suddenly now we're fighting this like very expensive war in Iran. Anyways, what they did do is eliminate grants, like among many things. They eliminated more than 1,400 grants from the National Endowment for the Humanities, which, you know, amounted to millions of dollars. I believe 65% of the staff was ultimately cut. But this week, videos from a deposition filed by 3 major academic groups that are, you know, beneficiaries of the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Modern Language Association, American Council for Learned Societies, and the American Historical Association. They alleged that DOGE, spearheaded by Elon Musk, used discriminatory methods to decide which cuts. And what came out is that these DOGE bros, who, if you'll remember, were like 22-year-old college dropouts who like knew how to code, I guess, they just put these grants through ChatGPT and were like, is this DEI? That is basically what they did. And so let's play a clip of Justin Fox, who is a former staffer at DOGE, on what DEI means.
For DEI, there was the EO explicitly laid out the details. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
It's okay. I'm asking for your understanding of it.
Yeah, my understanding was exactly what was written in the EO.
Yeah. So can you?
I don't remember what was in the EO.
So right now, do you have an understanding of what DEI is?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding as you sit here today in this deposition?
Well, it was exactly what was written in the EO.
Have an understanding as you sit here today of what DEI means?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding of what it means?
Well, it is exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay, but I'm not asking necessarily about what was in the EO. I'm asking very specifically about your present understanding of what of DEI.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a present understanding of DEI?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain what that present understanding is?
Well, it's just easier for me to be referencing back to the EO.
Honestly, this is Relatable King. This is me. This is me learning polynomials. Okay.
Yeah,
That was me
sure.
learning math.
Totally,
Like,
good point.
I can explain it, but I'm gonna have to.
But not one person hired me to be in charge of polynomials. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, if this is true that they were putting these things into ChatGPT, wow, what a surprise that, you know, things came back that were not accurate. And I guess like one of the things that I'm just thinking from this is like, you know, we had Brendan Ballou on recently who just started his new law firm, which is going to go after like very different things, but like I feel like it's the same vein. They're going to bring lawsuits against these things.
Yes, totally.
And this is where the really good work actually is happening right now, because like with these lawsuits, we are able to get some of the answers to these questions. So like I just want to give a shout out to these groups that have brought these forward, because
going forward with
otherwise
this,
we wouldn't even know this.
Yeah, it's just such an embarrassment. You know, like I don't know. It is funny. It is absurd. Did you ever see the movie? Of course you saw the movie I, Tonya.
Yes, of course.
And at the end of the credits, they have clips from the original characters, like real clips from the original characters. And the guy who orchestrated the whole thing was like, I'm a sleeper cell. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And this is what this guy reminds me of. It's like he's sort of like hedging, like he really knows what he's talking about, but he keeps referring back. He's like, I put into ChatGPT what Trump also put into ChatGPT in order to make decisions. By the way, Congress had already, like, this is Congress's job. They had already made these decisions to give this money away.
Right.
Like, not give this money away, to allocate this money towards, you know, making the American public better. And then DOGE put it into ChatGPT for something they didn't understand. A clip that I heard was also they asked him, like, why did you deny funding for a Holocaust documentary? And he was like, because DEI, gender. Like, he clearly had no idea what, like,
I think it's because both men and women were affected by the Holocaust.
I think it's
what could that have to do with gender?
It has not. I don't think he knew what the Holocaust was. I think he was. That's what I think.
So he didn't go to fourth grade.
I think he didn't go to fourth grade. 100%.
You never read Number the Stars?
Okay, that is a great book.
I love Number. Like I like you said it to me. Like I used to read Number. I think about Number the Stars. Like honestly, once a week.
I do too.
Okay, that was anyway.
A banger.
Hi, Lois Lowry.
Lois Lowry.
Yeah. But I mean, you know who probably is happy about those?
Tell me.
Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, for sure. He's like a 22-year-old who's dumber than I am.
Who cut humanities funding? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he's like, screw ballet. Yeah. Before we get to our guest, Fortesa Latifi, you had a moment on the internet this week.
Yeah, I did have a good little moment.
You had a little good moment. You know who did not have a good moment? Katherine Heigl.
No, she made what I love. First of all, they called it a rare public appearance.
I
love when they say somebody's making a rare public appearance, because I'm like, no, it's just the fact that she's not invited to much. And guess what? I'm allowed to say that now.
I've been waiting I was like, where's Katherine Heigl and all this?
I mean,
what does she think about DOGE?
Who's gonna sell me poise pads? Oh, by the way, everyone keeps giving her shit for selling poise pads. Hi, poise. As a longtime sufferer of kidney stones, I know a thing or two about bladder incontinence, and I have more followers than poise pads on social media. So if you would want to do a sponsorship with me for poise pads, come get your girl, because listen, I'm another blonde who also is a bitch, but in a very different way. Okay, so Katherine Heigl has always kind of had this like reputation of being difficult.
Yes.
There were accusations of her being difficult on the set of Grey's Anatomy. There were things.
Everybody on Knocked Up,
Although
I don't trust. I don't trust.
But I always kind of thought, oh, you know what? Like, so she's a woman who was advocating for herself, and that's like what's gotten her this bad reputation. But then I saw her at Mar-a-Lago, and I was like, well,
in this
fuck you.
Fugly dress.
Oh my God.
Hate to say it.
This dress is so ugly. This looks like the floor of a Lily Pulitzer factory.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like.
So anyway, she went to an event that was at Mar-a-Lago, which, as we know, that's Trump. That's the Florida White House, right? Like that's an extension of the White House
it's
at
like
this point.
Kennedy compound in Hyannisport.
Right.
It's like, this is where
political,
100%.
right? So anyway, she goes there. She attends a dog rescue charity event. And for me, I'm like, first of all, animals, this is true. Animals are being displaced. They're being abandoned because of ICE deportations.
Yep,
it's
100%.
absolutely heartbreaking.
Yep.
Also, like, keep in mind that like how awful this administration has been to animals.
Yeah.
Kristi Noem shooting her
Yeah,
dog. I'm not supposed to say that on
point.
TikTok Live, but anyway, she went there and then she received, I think, pretty justifiable backlash from a really hilarious blonde lady, among many others. But she received a lot of backlash. And then she came out with a statement that was like, animals, it doesn't matter because animals don't vote. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually that's the point.
Yeah.
The point is animals don't vote. So we have to protect them. So anyway, but I also think it's part of this trend of like, if you can't beat them, join them, where there are people who like probably would love to skew more, maybe not love to, but like maybe they would be inclined to skew more left, but they can't get leftist enough. So they go MAGA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like she was the most famous person there. If she went to an event in LA for dog rescue, she would not, like, Olivia Munn would be running circles around her, and rightfully fucking so, Olivia Munn.
I know. But I've been thinking about that a lot. Actually, is like, what pipelines do we have on the left? It's very, very tough because it's like, it's either very wealthy, very polished celebrities that, like, because the economy is so bad, because the era of aspirational, dressing feels over, doesn't feel compelling right now. And on the right, they're sort of a little bit more like, oh, everybody can join, but like, like there are more pipelines on the right than on the left, I guess is what
I kind of want to talk to Fortesa about this. And I think she's in the waiting room because I want to ask her about like how many of these like family vloggers, mommy vloggers, etc., really do skew right and sort of the reasons why. But anyway, we are so excited. We have Fortesa Latifi. She's a journalist. She's the author of Like, Follow, Subscribe, Influencer Kids, and the Cost of Childhood Online. You can actually pre-order that online right now. She's written for places like Rolling Stone, the New York Times, and more. She is a staff writer at Yahoo. We're so excited she's here. Fortesa!
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Good. How are you? Good morning.
Great.
I love her book cover. Do you see it right behind her?
Like, Follow, Subscribe. It's a great title, too.
Yeah.
Thank you. I came up with it myself, which I'm very proud of.
That is. Yeah. Usually it's like a publisher game.
Well, she's a true journalist and marketer. She can do it all. Okay, so we have so many questions for you, but one of the things that we were talking about up at the top of the show was that it's been 6 years since the COVID lockdown in 2020. And
that face is that, right? Yeah, we all are like,
we've all lived so many lives in that time.
I also am like, I'm still 25, so how is that possible that
same.
You know what I mean? Like, that feels incorrect, even though I wasn't 25.
I was just going to say, you weren't 25 when it started, but I was 6 months. But I think that there's a huge shift that happened on the internet because of COVID. And I would love to hear from your perspective, like, how has that shift shown up in the industry that you follow around family vlogging? And I would also argue like mommy vlogging is separate from family vlogging to some degree. But like, and maybe Fortesa can explain to us why family vlogging and mommy vlogging is different. But like, what shift did we see from COVID?
I think we only saw more people getting online. I mean, I heard you guys were talking about like you guys got on TikTok during that time. I got on TikTok during that time. And I think especially for moms, there was this isolation that like, I think about that, like COVID was hard for me and like I didn't have a child back then and I cannot imagine parenting in COVID. And so they took that isolation and they went online. And I think the industry only expanded and we were introduced to many more characters through COVID.
Like, do you think Secret Lives of Mormon Wives would exist without COVID?
Whoa, that's a really good question. It's like a fork in the road. Probably not, right? Yeah.
Because that really happened because of this like internet community and then it got picked up, etc. So, and I mean, I don't think that can happen. You guys don't like, people are going to be like, I'm going to quit my day job and to be like, Catholic Wives of West Medford. Ladies, don't do that. No. But can you explain to me, because I did bring it up, the difference between mommy vlogging and family vlogging?
Totally. So family vlogging is really what it sounds like, where the entire family is involved. So every single family member is like a main character. And like, they do kind of more like trends and like stunts and pranks and that kind of stuff. So like some of the videos that I watched in the family vlogging world for my book is like every family member eats only one color food for the whole day. So like Meredith only eats purple, Rebecca only eats yellow, Fortesa only eats
family vlog.
And it would be like 80 million views, right? So it was like these family stunts kind of, whereas like a mom influencer is much more like the mom is the main character and the children are like kind of side characters. But in a family vlog, like they're all in it together.
Interesting.
And sometimes you don't even see the kids when somebody's a vlogger.
No.
Like you don't have to necessarily see the kids.
Well, actually, can I ask you about that? I'm curious about that because I feel like this is one of those things. You know how like documentaries will come out and you'll be like, yeah, how did we think that was okay back in the day? Family vlogging is one of those things where like I'll be scrolling and I'll see, like I can think of a handful of children that like I feel uncomfortable coming across because they're there like performing for me, but they're also 6 and they're making money off of it. Like what have you found there? And is this the type of thing that a couple of years from now we're going to be like, oh, I can't believe as a culture we let that happen?
I think the zeitgeist is already kind of turning against family vlogging like as a norm, but it's interesting because at the same time as that backlash is occurring and people are like, this is exploitative to have your kids online, it's also like there have never been more family vloggers. It's only getting more popular. So it's like, it's almost like the backlash is like feeding into it. Because like a view is a view, like you guys know that, like a hate view is still a view. And so there is this, so there is this kind of backlash, but like, it's not impacting the bottom line.
Go ahead.
Are you familiar with a one called the Doherty Dozen?
Oh, am I?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, explain. I'm not familiar with the Doherty Dozen.
Fortesa, can you explain the Doherty Dozen?
I mean, they have 10 kids, right? Like literally 10 kids.
Well, now they have 9 because one of them is gone.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
I think one of them is gone.
But what do you mean gone?
Well, Fortesa can explain.
I didn't know that.
It was gone, but okay. Explain who they are, and then I'll explain that one of them's gone.
Well, so yeah, they're this family that it's really interesting because they're kind of like this blended family where like some kids are adopted, some kids are biological kids, which actually in the research that does really well. Like people love like blended families in the family vlogging world, and they love huge blended families. And so that's really fascinating. And this mom basically makes content like every day where she's like, make lunch with me for my 10 kids, or I guess 9 kids. And just like, you know, makes all these lunches and like, let's go do a grocery haul for my millions of kids. And so, yeah, they're fascinating. I've tried to interview them many times, but I haven't gotten to them yet.
You know what she does? She makes like sandwiches and stuff. And I get that it's like busy, but she raw dogs that bread. She just throws it down on the counter. She just throws it down on the counter. But also like that's like one of the things from like, dude, relatable queen. But there was one child who was, I think, like it wasn't foster care, but it was kind of like a step above, like permanent. I don't know, was placed with them on some type of like permanent guardianship. It was her and her brother, and now she is gone.
Whoa,
I know.
I didn't know that.
We'll have to have you come back and talk about it. But I'm obsessed with.
I feel like I hear this, and I'm like, I bet this has like ripple implications for like the adoption industry and for, you know, like I have to imagine that there's like downstream.
Does that happen? Do people adopt their family vlogging?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to say, right? Like you can't like be sure, but there was that really famous case a few years ago of Mika Stauffer, and there was that Cut article that was like, why did these YouTubers give away their child? And basically they adopted a child from China. They made tons of content with him for like a couple of years. And then they slowly started phasing him out of content. And people were like, wait, where's Huxley? That's what they named him.
Yes, I do remember.
Yeah. And then eventually they came online and they were like, we had to give him to another family because he had like developmental difficulties that we like didn't foresee. But like they still had like the monetized content with him like up, even though they weren't like parenting him anymore. And so that was very troubling.
It feels a little like it feels almost like dogs. Like it feels like it's so disposable. I also wonder, like, Is there something in here, something that I've been thinking a lot about in the past couple of days is like pipelines. And it feels like as, politically we're moving towards like more Christian right conservative values around family planning and reproductive rights and trad wife. And like, is this a pipeline in some ways to the conservative movement, both for audiences and for the people performing it and for the people targeting those,
Yeah. I think a lot of family vlog content is, if not explicitly right-wing, like implicitly right-wing, because, you have a bunch of kids, the parents stay home. A lot of times the mom homeschools the children and she makes all the sourdough from scratch. And, so it's kind of like this like right-wing dream of a family. And so it doesn't surprise me that like family vloggers are only getting more popular as this country moves rightward politically, because it is just like, it's a reflection of that moment.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, though. It's like, to me, I hate to say this. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. There's also a piece of this. It's like chicken or the egg, because I think about my own wonderful parents who they, my mother for a very long time could stay home and my father could work a full-time job, and we had enough money and enough, like we weren't rich, but like we had enough money. We had good insurance, all that kind of stuff. And now with the cost of living, what it is, like I do sort of understand how many of these people do you think get into this? And it's not because they're not lazy. I'll tell you right now, family vlogging.
No, they're working hard.
They're working hard. How much of this do you think is a reflection of how hard it has become to have and when I say American dream, I don't even mean like the mansion. I mean the like base level.
No, like a 2-car garage. No, I write about this in the book because I think people are very black and white on this issue, where they're like, if you're doing this, you're evil and you're immoral and you're exploitative. And like, I don't believe that. And also I write about this, that you have to look around at the country that we're in right now. And especially for mothers, where mothers get paid less than women who don't have children statistically, and obviously get paid way less than men. And so I've said there's only one career on earth where having a baby is a positive for your career as a woman, and it's family vlogging and mom influencing. And so if you're a mother and you look around and you're like, okay, after daycare costs, I'm taking home $100 a week, and also I miss my kids, like, yeah, I can understand saying I'm going to go into this job where I'm going to make my entire yearly salary in one brand deal. And I think for people to say they don't understand making that decision, I think it's just untruthful.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I also am thinking about like the decline of Hollywood and television, because we used to just watch this on TV. We would be like the Brady Bunch, where they cast children and parents in a big blended family figure, like Americans always love to watch this, but like
totally,
it's declined.
You and I have talked about this before, Fortesa, but can you tell everyone a little bit about who actually watches family vlogging? Because I find this to be fascinating.
I know.
It's really interesting. So I've talked to hundreds of fans and former fans for my book. And it's interesting because they kind of go into a few buckets. So one is other children who are often in vulnerable or difficult family situations. And so I talk to these kids, and a lot of times now they're adults now that I'm talking to them, or teenagers. And they're like, yeah, my family was broken and I didn't have anyone to look up to. And so I started looking up to these families. And like, that makes a lot of sense to me. And it's obviously deeply sad. And then there's other parents who are watching because they want an example of how to raise their children, and also just a community. Like motherhood specifically in the United States is so isolating that like, even as I was researching this book, I found myself drawn to these creators as a new mom myself. Like I couldn't stay away from them, because it was like, okay, no one else is showing me what this is like, even though they were showing like a very polished image of it. And then obviously there's really no way to know how big each of these pieces are, but then there's, predators, obviously. And the New York Times had an incredible investigation where they found like entire chat rooms of pedophiles being like, thank God that mom influencers exist, because we have all this content. And so we can't ignore that either.
That also makes it really tricky with the whole idea that there's some that are so implicitly right wing, because like a lot of that is like, save the children.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like, well,
From Red Dye 40.
Yeah.
Speaking of Save the Children, well, you know, in our last couple minutes, I wanted to get your take on a case that's actually happening here in California.
Yeah.
It's a 20-year-old woman who says she began using YouTube at age 6 and Instagram at age 9, and that the platform's design features like likes, algorithms, recommendations, infinite scroll, autoplay, unpredictable reward system were intentionally built to keep users hooked. According to the lawsuit, that addiction contributed to her depression, anxiety, body dysmorphia, other thoughts. TikTok and Snapchat have already settled for undisclosed amounts. Now Meta, Facebook, and Google are the remaining defendants. But all of this puts up the question about Section 230, which like as a reminder to listeners, this is a law from like the late 90s that basically makes it so these platforms aren't accountable for the things that actually happen on their sites in order for it to be sort of a public square. But it's complicated because these are private companies. They're not public utilities. So what do you make of this case, like as in relationship to your reporting? Like you're an expert in this children's and internet space.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's no secret that these platforms are addictive, right? Like that's the point of them. And something that I find really interesting is when people talk about protections for child influencers, they often tell me like, well, we should be lobbying the companies and the corporations. And I'm like, there's a 0% chance that Meta is going to do something to help child influencers or to institute protections for them, because why would they? Like their allegiance is to the bottom line, and this content makes a ton of money for them, and it's very addictive. Like when I talk to fans, like people are like, I would wake up every single morning and before I would do anything else, I would check these vlogs, you know? And so it doesn't surprise
to have a
me.
reason to get out of bed though, isn't it?
I know.
It
On
is.
Tuesdays and Fridays, you could get out of bed and watch us.
Fair enough.
You're not exploiting us.
Yeah.
No, but I think that makes sense. These platforms aren't going to do that. They're not going to change.
No.
But I also think this gets to the root problem, which is like everybody needs more money so they can spend more time with their kids, so their kids don't have to be entertained by devices. And I don't fault parents for using devices.
That's such a cycle. Like that's
that's what it is. Like everybody's working their asses off. Everything's too expensive. So at the end of the day, the kid's like, oh, can we like go to the park? And you're like, no, I got to work for another hour. And it's like, okay, like, and I'm not saying that everybody does this, but I'm just saying like, it's kind of like if we could, it's all income inequality. At the end.
It is. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And I think that's something that I found in my book that I found so fascinating. And a reason that I think this conversation should be nuanced is that many of the mom influencers and family vloggers that I talked to, not all, but many, came from really vulnerable situations. You know, they started having kids really young. They ended up being a single mother. They had a ton of kids while they were a single mother. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Right. Somebody wrote in on TikTok. I just thought this was a really interesting comment that I wanted to flag. They live in an area, I don't know if it's Utah or Nashville anyway, but they said there's a lot of family vloggers where they live. Yeah. And they said they have a lot of adult stalkers. We had police at our kids' daycare often for vloggers' kids looking for the children of vlogging people. Have you heard about things like that, about people coming to schools or daycares?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely, I would say that's less common than what I've heard from a lot of parents, which is just that their kids will be recognized out in public. Like they'll just be like at Target and someone will be like, oh my gosh, Tommy, like, how are you doing? Da, 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 da. And it's like a 2-year-old, and the 2-year-old is like, who are you? And what are you talking about? And like, how do you explain to a 2-year-old, like, stranger danger when like this person knows you?
Yeah, that's so true. If somebody comes up to you,
I saw one the other day. I saw a little child influencer, you know, the little girl who goes, okay, like, time to your toys. I saw her somewhere. I'm not going to say where I saw her.
Do they live in LA? I didn't know that.
They must.
Yeah. I'll text you. I'll tell you where
but like, look, you freaked me toddler out in public. That's crazy.
Yes, it freaked me. And like, I've always thought she was so cute, but once I saw her in person, I felt uncomfortable.
I feel uncomfortable every time I see these children. I'm like, I don't want to see this. Like, I like as somebody who, I mean, this has nothing to do with my life, but like who felt parentified as a kid, who felt like I was doing too much adult stuff as a kid. That's how I feel every time I see these children on the internet. I'm like, you're spending too much time playing adult for adults for money on the internet.
They're working.
Yeah, they're working. And they're working. Like, so much of them, I feel like, are playing the role. Like, they understand that they're playing cute for adults.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
it might start as like, oh, they're just a cute kid. But like, I see them so often and I'm like, they're very clear on what
You
it
would be
is
shocked.
and funny.
Yeah. You would be shocked at how easily toddlers understand what a camera is. Like, my daughter's not even 2. And when I take out my phone to take a picture of her, she'll literally pose. Like, she knows, and she's not even 2.
And like, you know, everybody loves like, it is a human quality to love attention, but a child can't differentiate like, this is attention because this person loves and cares about me versus this is attention because there's a world of people, anonymous people, who are profiting off of my cuteness.
Listen, I was parenting my house when I was about 2.5 years old.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But what if I could have been getting paid for it? That's what I'm
Meredith's like, listen, I could have a YouTube empire.
Fair point.
Fortesa, we're so excited for your book. It comes out so soon, which is crazy because I've been like, you've been working on this for so long. You've done the most amazing
Good for
research.
you.
And like, what is one thing that you can tell us about the book before you go that will make people like know that they need to get it? Because they do need to get it.
Yes, I think that the things that family vloggers and mom influencers would tell me on the record for my book would shock you. Like, they knew I was recording. They knew it was on the record. Like, one of the things I'll just tell you is that multiple of them told me that the content that does best is when their kid is sick or sad or injured. And they know that consciously, and they told me on the record.
Yeah.
So
also she talked to a Gosling.
Ooh, wow. A goblin. I mean,
wait, am I not supposed to say that?
No, it's okay.
Okay. I just feel like this is one of those things that like I mean, I guess it is sort of already unraveling and your book is part of that, but I feel like this is one of those things. Like, every time I see it, I feel like not right in my soul. And I feel like it's the kind of thing that very soon we're going to be like, I can't believe it as a society we let this.
What's your pub date?
April 7th.
Okay, will you come back?
Yes, I will, of course.
Okay.
We'd love to have you.
Fortesa, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, anywhere online at Hi Fortesa, HIFORTESA. And I, like these vloggers, am just peddling my wares all day long. So you can come see all my content.
So consider following, and subscribing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Bye,
All right,
Fortesa.
thank you for having me. Bye.
Punch me in the face and then I'll cry.
Yeah.
And then we get
Do you
more
think?
views.
I know we've actually talked about this as of late because this is a thing adults do too. This is something that we text about a lot. Is like, we know a couple of influencers who like a lot of their content is about their victimhood, and they will like get on the internet and cry.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't know, like, call me a heartless bitch, but I'm like, don't get on the internet and cry. But
that's what your car is for.
That's what the subway is for. Exactly. That's what listening to Billie Eilish is What Was I Made For? And like sliding down your shower wall is for. Like, although
I've cried on the internet before though.
Have you?
Yeah, but I mean, like, when you put out as much bullshit as I have, you're gonna have a couple times.
Yeah, I guess so. But
like, you're not clocking in at a casual like 6,000 videos like I am.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess that's true. I mean, like, I don't know. Now I'm like, let's do it. Let's cry. Let's cry.
I honestly don't want to fuck up my eyelashes.
Okay, that's a good reason not to cry. Meredith, what's having a moment for you before we get the out of here for the weekend?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. You know what's kind of having a moment for me right now is my Shop My. I know. Okay, so Shop My is one of those things where like you can put the things that you like, that you shop, whatever products that you have, and people can go on and buy them. And I am like at the point where like I just realized like, no, I used to get brand deals. I don't get brand deals anymore. A big part of that is because I'm so political. And so I'm like, you know what? The nice thing is like, I don't have to pretend to like something.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to tell you what I actually like. So I put up these pants that I love. I have them on again today. These J. Crew.
They're really
four-way
cute.
stretch pants. They're gorgeous. And
do you know what they also like strikes me? Sorry to make this like a shopping network, is they look like something that you don't have to iron all the time.
You don't have to iron them at all.
Because
and
so
you don't have to
many
wash
of my
them that often.
clothes, I'm like,
I know.
I have to steam this. I
Right.
have like a burn mark from my steam steamer, you know.
Yeah. Were you steaming it while wearing it? Like, what was going on?
No, I had to like reach over it to unplug it.
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Okay. You okay over there?
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Cry.
It's fine. Cry. Yeah, exactly.
She's hurt. This is the content we need.
Pay me.
So anyway, check out my Shop My, because I'm gonna add some more stuff. And here's the thing: it's all killer, no filler, because nobody wants to give me a fucking brand deal. Oh look, all killer, no filler, which is also I think the name of a Sum 41 album, which my sister Jean had. Do you remember Sum 41?
I don't remember a single one of their songs.
Out drinking in the back of an El Camino as a kid. What's the skit? Remember that one?
Not at all.
Crash
but
my own
keep
host
going.
party because nobody came.
Gabby remembers.
I know I'm not the kid you thought you knew back in high school. Oh my god, yeah, like me.
Gabby in the control room remembers this big time.
This is actually this song might have been pro-life though, because one of the lyrics was, "The doctor said my mom should have had an abortion."
Everything's political. Everything is political, including Sum 41.
Anyway, what's having a moment for you?
Okay, I guess like sort of Shop My, because apparently Donald Trump is buying all of his cabinet members these very specific shoes. Have you heard about this?
Sounds like something my auntie would do. You're
Okay.
all gonna wear them.
Yeah. So he's buying them all shoes, but they don't fit. That's Marco Rubio in a pair of shoes that don't fit, but Donald Trump bought them for him, and so he has to wear them. And I just think this is like the most important reporting of our time.
I don't know men's shoes, so like I don't know if those shoes are ugly.
I mean, I think that they're totally fine if they fit.
Well, I mean, like there's bad shoes out there. Though.
I just like apparently they all have them and they all don't quite fit. And like, you know how Trump is afraid of stairs?
Yeah.
I'm like, add to the fact that every single one of the men walking behind them are in shoes that do not fit. Like, they could like have a total domino effect and like, I'm just so tickled. Like, the way men relate to one another in this cabinet and in general, but like this tickles me to no end.
I also think that Trump probably doesn't know about shoe sizes.
No, I don't think he gives a shit.
No, but I just think he doesn't know. I think he's been the same shoe size since probably the 8th grade, and he's so self-centered, and people have done everything for him his whole life that like the right size shoes have just kept showing up. So when he was like, I want to get everybody shoes,
he's like, they're my size. They're yeah,
and like just so he just orders them like that. Yeah, these probably only come in one size.
That's true.
A lady's 9.5. But like I think that's what's so interesting is like we are being led by somebody who is attacking Iran, who does have nuclear weapons, which like I don't know who's to say who's allowed to have them and who's not, right? Like, I mean, here's the thing about it. It's like, oh, just because like we're bigger than you, we get to tell you you can't have nuclear weapons.
I know,
like kind of bullshit.
I know.
But
I'm for disarmament for what it's worth.
Well,
I think we should all not have nuclear weapons. I think it's bananas insane that we have these weapons.
Yes, I agree. And I thought we kind of figured that out after we destroyed Japan. Like, I thought we were like, wait a minute.
The opposite. In fact, we were like, what if we ramped this up and we told everybody that the way to solve the nuclear crisis is for everybody to have weapons and everybody's afraid to do it, except that we forgot that crazy old men are now in charge. Like, I think Trump is itching.
But here's the thing. He does not know that shoe sizes exist.
Yes,
and yet he is like lightly leading, softly leading a war with Iran.
Yeah,
like he doesn't know about shoe sizes.
Know about shoe sizes. That's right. Yeah, I just like I don't know. I guess men are having a moment for me in general. I was going to before I saw this story, I was going to say that looks maxing is having a moment for me because I'm really really fascinated by this. Like
I'm getting filler today.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is there's this new movement called looks maxing where it's like this led by this guy Clavicular who like makes all of this content about how to make yourself into like the best male specimen. And they're like breaking their jaws and like they're doing all of these things. And what's so fascinating to me is I'm like, oh, men are finally facing the male gaze, which is like a nonstop pursuit of perfection at the cost of like pain and money and time and self-hatred. And it's just so fascinating to see men find their own language around this in a way that women have dealt with forever. But I guess really what's having a moment for me is that these men all have the same shoes that do not fit.
Well, we will be back.
We sure will.
On Tuesday.
Yep.
We have a fantastic guest.
Representative Teresa Leisure
Fernandez.
Yeah.
From the great state of New Mexico. And one of the things I'm really not looking forward to talking to her about, but one of the things I think is going to be really interesting is we're going to talk a little bit about in her district is the ranch that Jeffrey Epstein had in New Mexico that's being investigated. So anyway, I'm really, I think it's going to be a great conversation. We'll be back on Tuesday. In the meantime, please follow our friend Fortesa Latifi. As always, I want to thank the crew that makes it all happen. Vienna, our executive producer, Gabby in the booth, and Alistair, who has to wake up before 6:30 a.m. to be here.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you so much for hanging out. We'll see you soon.
Bye.